Intro. In a world overflowing with chosen heroes, it's the villains who stay with us, not because they're powerful, but because they reflect who we fear we're becoming. Today's sci-fi villains aren't just aliens or tyrants, they are bureaucrats, warm smiles hiding cold intentions. In a galaxy of gray morality, these new antagonists are smarter, colder, and more real than ever. This is not about capes and explosions. This is about control, ideology, and manipulation. These are the new faces of evil, and you might just recognize them. 1. Cyril Karn and Deidre Miro, Andor. On the surface, Cyril Karn is just another mid-level functionary, but behind the stiff uniform and hollow stare is something far more dangerous: ambition without direction. He's not a warlord, not a Sith, just a man who needs to matter. And that makes him terrifying. His obsession with justice twists into fanaticism. He's not driven by power, he's driven by a desperate need to belong. Then there's Dedra Miro, a name you don't hear shouted in Star Wars fandom, but one you'll never forget after Andor. An Imperial officer whose calm precision slices sharper than any lightsaber. She doesn't scream, she calculates. She speaks softly and turns freedom into a spreadsheet. What makes them terrifying isn't just what they do, it's how ordinary they are. They don't blow up planets, they simply follow the rules until the rules become chains around your throat. 2. Moff Gideon, the Mandalorian. In the ashes of the Empire, one man still wears its armor like a crown. Moff Gideon isn't here to rebuild. He's here to remind the galaxy who it used to fear. Calm, calculated, completely in control. Gideon speaks with the authority of a leader and the arrogance of a god. But unlike past villains, he doesn't just want power, he wants order. To him, chaos is weakness, freedom is failure. And his solution? Cloning, genetics, legacy, not through blood, but through control. He doesn't scream for attention, he whispers, and the room falls silent. Moff Gideon is the perfect storm of legacy and innovation, a man who sees himself as the only one left capable of saving the galaxy, even if that means destroying it first. 3. Marco Inaros, the Expanse. Some villains want to rule the system. Marco Inaros wants to burn it. To Earth, he's a terrorist. To the Belt, he's a prophet. But Marco doesn't just wage war with ships. He fights with words, turning pain into purpose. Charismatic, beautiful, deadly. He doesn't kill for power, he kills for attention. He wants the galaxy to look at the Belt and see its suffering. And if it takes a rock crashing into a planet, so be it. Marco believes he's history's correction. The voice of the forgotten, finally speaking loud enough to matter. But his revolution? It's not freedom. It's ego. He leads with fire, but in the flames, all he sees is his own reflection. 4. Baron Harkonnen, Dune. In a galaxy ruled by houses and honor, Baron Harkonnen is wrought in human form. He doesn't conquer with vision. He conquers by feeding on fear, on weakness, on the bones of those who resist him. He doesn't hide his cruelty. He basks in it. A swollen monster wrapped in silk and poison. But the real horror? He's not mad. He's strategic. Every atrocity is calculated. Every betrayal, part of a plan. He sees Arrakis not as a holy land, but as a vein to be drained. Spice is power. And Harkonnen will drown an entire planet, just to keep sipping it. He is empire without soul. And when he speaks, even silence recoils. 5. Bernard Holland, Silo. Some villains don't need armies or weapons. They just need a server room and a locked door. Bernard Holland doesn't shout. He doesn't threaten. He simply knows everything. Every message, every search, every secret whispered in the dark. As head of IT in the silo, he's not a tech guy. He's a king. But instead of a throne, he sits at a terminal. Information is power, and Bernard has it all. In a world where truth is forbidden, he decides what's real. What makes him terrifying isn't brutality, it's that quiet certainty that he's right, even as people die, even as freedom is erased. Bernard doesn't kill with guns, he kills with silence, and no one even knows they're bleeding. 6. The Trisolarans, three-body problem. Earth thought it had time, but the Trisolarans were already listening, an alien race, born in chaos. Their sun unstable, their planet always on the edge of collapse. For them, survival is not just instinct, it's religion. They don't come with weapons drawn. They come with logic, cold, pure, terrifying. They manipulate humans without ever leaving their star system. They convince us to betray ourselves. Their invasion? It's not a war. It's inevitability. They don't hate us. They don't even care. We are just in the way. And that's what makes them the most chilling villains of all. They don't conquer with emotion. They conquer because they must. And there's no bargaining with survival. 7. Cersei Lannister, Game of Thrones. Some villains are born in the dark. Cersei Lannister was born in gold, crowned by privilege, protected by power. But the world never let her forget she was still a woman. In a realm ruled by swords and suns, Cersei learned the only way to survive was to outplay them all. She lies like it's poetry. She poisons with a mother's smile. Every act of cruelty, calculated. Every alliance, transactional. She doesn't burn cities for pleasure. She does it because love is weakness and fear is legacy. What makes her truly terrifying? She believes she's doing it all for family, for her children, for her bloodline, even if it means burning the world to protect what's hers. Cersei doesn't scream. She waits. And by the time you realize she's won, it's already over. Sorry, outro. Why these villains matter. Across every galaxy, behind every lie, law, or flag, there's someone pulling strings. Not always with violence, not always with rage. Sometimes it's the quiet ones, the ones who follow orders, or worse, the ones who believe they're saving us. That's what makes today's sci-fi villains unforgettable. They don't conquer with monsters and guns. They conquer with logic, with loyalty, and with the belief that the ends do justify the means. And maybe that's why they linger. Because we recognize how close they are to people we've seen, to systems we've accepted. So the question isn't just what makes a great sci-fi villain, it's how many of them do we already live with? Drop your favorite villain in the comments. Let's see who really left a scar.